welcome back to my channel. I'm Irsa and I'm a content creator and photographer. And in today's episode, we are gonna talk about how to edit photos on the go. Because I know a lot of you guys out there, just like me, like to travel. We like to bring work with us as we go. We like to post content as we go. And what's really nice with tech today is that most camera manufacturers actually make it possible for you as a content creator to directly import your raw files from your camera to your phone and then import these raw files into Adobe Lightroom app. So we are gonna tweak some of my photos that I took of my fellow friend Alice. If you don't know who she is, go and check out her channel, Alice Knows Sweden. Absolute sweetheart. I took this a while back, but I just wanted to show you guys some easy tweaks that you can do for a photo to make the model pop even more, maybe save some darks, maybe if you overexposed it, how you can tweak it to make it look even better. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. All right, so we got the photo here of Alice and it's a little blown out with the sky, but we're gonna fix this. So what you don't want to do if a photo is too dark or too bright is to just use, there we go. Okay, there we go. So what you don't want to do is to just use this exposure wheel because you then affect the whole image. You want to be able to save the details in the photo by turning down the highlights in the sky, but without affecting Alice or the other environment around her. So what we're gonna do in this case, we're actually gonna start with, let's see, we're gonna just mask the sky. So you're gonna go to this little circle here in the bottom right corner. We're gonna click the plus, select sky. Here's a little tutorial. Here's what you do, create. And Lightroom is using AI to detect the sky. It's awesome. Sometimes though it can grab, like in this case, it's grabbing a little bit of Alice's dress. You can easily subtract. You can easily subtract that by clicking the minus. You can use a brush. We're gonna decide what size on the brush and then you can just kind of erase that from the mask itself. And even her skin here has been a little pulled into that sky masking. This is like a quick and easy. I'm not gonna spend too much time cleaning up that. There we go. Okay, cool. So once we have the sky masked out like this, we're gonna go to the light and we're gonna pull down the highlights. As you can see, we got a little clouds back. It's not as blown out. It's still a very blown out sky. You can kind of play around a little bit with the white, see what that does. If you want to try to pull down the exposure as well in the sky, you just want to be careful with, as you can see now by her arm is where I erased the masking, so it's kind of not grabbing around that. We're gonna fix that in a bit, but I don't want the detail to break like it's doing right now. Just gonna pull down a little bit, just like that. Perfect. Done. Cool. So we also want to lift Alice a little bit because she is very dark. Oh yeah, give me one sec. We're actually gonna get rid of that. There we go. Perfect. Let's see. So we're gonna lift some of the shadows here, just kind of make her come out a little bit more. But if you are lifting shadows in a picture, like let's say you have a too dark of a picture, you want it to be brighter, don't just use the exposure again. I want you to kind of play around with lifting the shadows but you also need to add blacks so it's not too faded of a picture. You still need to have that contrast in there. So we lifted the blacks kind of bit, or shadows I mean, and now we're dropping the blacks to kind of bring that contrast back into the image. Perfect. Now we are gonna look at the colors a little bit. I feel like this was an early morning here in Florida, so it has a little blue tone to it. I tend to like the little bit more warmer colors. So we're gonna play around a little bit with that. You also have here white balance. It says custom, but you can also pick like as shot. You can do auto, what Lightroom suggests that you do. Daylight, cloudy, shade, yada yada. But we are gonna tweak this custom. I want it to feel a little golden hour. Can even play around a little with the tint if you want it to be even more angelic, like rose. Perfect. Now, it's not a lot of strong colors in this picture, but I just want to mention the difference between saturation and vibrance. Now, saturation, that affects all the colors in the whole picture, while vibrance doesn't really affect skin colors as much. So what I like to do is to pull up vibrance a little bit more if I feel like I want to have a little bit more of a pop, and then pull down saturation. But in this case, because we don't have a lot of colors really, and I kind of want it to be a little dreamy boho vibe, I don't really want greens and yellows and pinks to kind of like come right, like pop out of your phone or picture or whatever. So we are gonna keep it as it was. Like that. Sweet. Lovely. Now, what you can do in a picture like this, because Alice, we did lift the shadows, but if I feel like she's still a little bit too dark, or I want Alice to have a little different tone to her skin or whatever, what you can do is go back to the masking like we did with the sky. But now we're gonna go to the plus, and then you're gonna do select subject. As you can see, she is all masked out now. So we can go and lift her a bit more. We can make her look like an angel. Okay, that's actually funny. Oh, no, we're not gonna do it that crazy. But I already lifted her quite a bit, so I don't really need to lift her more in the shadows. But what I do want to do in this case, I would actually like to bring out her eye and face a little bit more. So we're actually gonna do a little bit of a radial gradient just in her face. Like that. There we go. Let's see how that looks. It's a little bit too much. I might actually go back to the overall shadows and work with just her shadows in the mask. There we go. Can even bring some more highlights into Alice if we want to. I don't find it necessary. But like I said, I do want to go in and work on that eye a little bit. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna add another little mask. In this case, we're gonna use another radial gradient. Like normally when you're on the computer, you can actually pick a special masking that picks just the eyes or just the hair or just the facial skin. But in this case, we're on the phone, we're a little bit more limited. We're just gonna work with what we have. Let's see. If I can move it. There we go. This is the tricky part, editing on a phone. It's like, Not that I have big fingers or anything, but okay. So we're gonna just see what happens when we lift that a little bit. Maybe even lift the whites. You can even go to effects. I know clarity can sometimes do it. It's kind of hard to tell right now because we have a mask in the way. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to move. There we go. So yeah, we got a little more of a pop on the eye right now. That's perfect. I like it. I just want to clean up the skin a little bit right here. I usually don't like to clean up skin too much so it looks like a Barbie doll. Like, I don't like that porcelain touch. But sometimes if you have a little, I think she actually had colored her hair or something a couple of days before. Sorry, Alice. So it's a little like color of some sort. But otherwise, I actually do like to see the skin texture. It just makes it feel more raw in some cases. Like, I like it. I like when it's not perfect. Okay, so we do have... I'm gonna use the remove in this case. So the remove tool is actually with AI. So it's not always a guarantee that it will be perfect. Sometimes you need to give it a couple of tries. But you can change the actual brush size right here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna brush over that little area that feels like it's not the same color as the rest of the skin. So now it's thinking about it. As you can see, I did a little something there. Let's see. That looks great. Yeah, perfect. Lovely, lovely. Now, what I also like to do before I finish off a photo, I know a lot of people like to use a vignette. When I have a model like this, I actually like to use a radial gradient. We're gonna swap that around her. Boom! Like that. Can make it even bigger, there we go. But then we're gonna click here and do invert mask. Boom! Then it looks like that. And what you're gonna do, you can either decrease the shadows around her. I think that's best in this case. Just to make her pop a little bit more. And that's it. This is the before and after. I like it, I like it. Alice is popping. We got a little more detail in the sky. If you also want to, you could also use the linear gradient. Take it from the bottom and kind of like decrease shadows even more if you want her to pop even more in the picture. But I like this. So now, for socials. What they recommend is that the longest edge of the picture, like either if it's horizontal or vertical, is going to be 1080. That's the longest edge, longest side. Also, the quality, I've read, oops, it's cold, I need my slipper. So I have read different things online that says between 80 and to 100% quality. So we're gonna export this. You click on the share up in the corner. We're gonna export as we have JPEG. We're gonna change this to, you know what? I'm gonna do largest available dimension. No, 1080, 1080, 1080. There we go. Image quality, I am gonna do 90% and we'll see how that looks. Here you can also, if you want to, add content credentials, include watermark, yada yada, but in this case, I just wanted to be done. I wanted to share to Instagram, and there's the photo. Nice, right? Now, this is more if you're just working with socials, if you just wanna share quick on socials, if you're on the go. I wouldn't edit on my phone if I'm planning on maybe have pictures for print, then me personally, I would rather sit by the computer and have a little bit more control over the actual editing. But in this case, if you just want dreamy, nice pictures, you just had a shoot or you're traveling, you want to share with family and friends, Adobe Lightroom app is a very nice and easy way where you can quickly edit your photos and have it ready. But that is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have anything else that you want to know more about with my content creation, please let me know. I would love to share what I'm doing with you guys. But if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos or adventures. Otherwise, up until the next time, have an absolutely amazing day. Hej då!